Talk with Mitch Lafon.
Welcome to Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon. Joining me, as you can see, it is the one and only Donnie Vie, as we say in Montreal. Bonjour, Donnie. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good for my age,
Yeah,
all things considered. Yeah.
yeah. I think we're about the same age. No, actually, you're my brother's age. Wow.
Yeah. Nobody's as old as me, man.
Which goes to show, though, you've been rocking and rolling for quite a bit. So a lot of stuff to talk about. We do have, of course, the Beautiful Things CD that came out last year. Then it was re-released, I think, earlier this year. But we have this collaboration, I guess, or this return to Enuff Z Nuff that we are calling the real Enuff Z Nuff. The song is Stranger in My Head on YouTube now. Talk to me about that collaboration, because for many, many years, there was this incredible sort of feud, maybe fueled by the media, maybe not. But talk to me about being back with Chip on
Well,
this song.
I think it was fueled mostly by me. I got pretty upset about a lot of things that I didn't know, and then, finding out more things and this and that, where I'm not going to go into, which kind of really got my panties in a bunch. And it's just, as far as legal attorneys and all that stuff, do the ends justify the means? And so it was the pandemic came, and it was emotionally for me, I felt it. I would rather love him than hate him. And we talked a little bit. We had a business matter we had to deal with, and we talked a bit, and and I really put it out there about, for the fans' sake, for to stop dividing the fans, for the integrity of the band and the name, that with the consistent great records that we've always put out and everything, I think that would he be interested in me contributing something, to this new record. It was, and he was receptive to that. So what we did is, I had a song that I had written about a year ago, and I have some heavier stuff that I write as well. And it was Strangers in My Head. And I sent that to him. He heard it and he says, yeah, that's great. I'd love to do it. And so, I retracked, my parts of it, because it was a demo, and sent it out to my buddy Vinny, who did the Dissonance record, and he played drums on it and mixed it up, and I sent it off to Chip, and of course, and he played bass and sang some harmonies in his studio, and then it went on his record. But
We were freezing up a little bit there.
Did I freeze up?
You did, but
where did I leave off to?
Something about you sent it to his record. But it's okay.
Yeah, it was done in, like, the whole matter was, we discussed it and it was finished and on his record within like 2-3 days. So it was kind of rushed of not really getting some business things worked out. But I was hopeful in, possibilities for the future, do some big shows together for the fans and for ourselves and for the reputation and history that was 30 years of my life,
Yeah.
And I wrote those songs and sang those songs, and just to cut that all loose is very difficult for me. I mean, though I can continue to write great songs, what I consider great songs and records, it's like Beautiful Things is probably the best thing I've ever done. To cut that all loose and, you really have nothing to do with it, and no entitlement or anything is just, that's difficult for me. So, I'm right now, like I said, he just tried to call me. He just called me right before I got on this interview. And so there's some discussions to have, and that's hopeful. And, I was hopeful that there could be some possibilities for the future. Obviously I don't want to get in a van or wherever the hell and go and tour these little clubs and things like that, because it's harmful to my health and my sobriety and this and that, and it's kind of pointless. But some bigger things could be done, that little events like Chicago, New York, LA, stuff like that. And it's just, he's, you know, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. He's very happy doing what he's doing, you know, and I would have no objections to him doing that. It's just some other ethical matters that need to be worked out, which would sit better with me. And I would like to be in a frame of mind of still be brothers and still have love between us, and leave possibilities open for the future, you know, for just for everybody involved, everybody's best interest. And so I'm going to leave it at that right now. You know, that there's possibilities. I would like to believe that there would be possibilities for that, you know, and as we both do our own things, you know.
Let me ask you about that, because there is a Canadian band up here called Honeymoon Suite, and they steadfastly refuse to play bars. They say that they are going to do the casinos and they are going to do festivals, and they are only going to play big stages because they feel that by playing bars, they hurt the brand.
They devalue it.
It devalues the brand. And listen, they are getting, you know, 5 figures to go play those festivals and to go play the casinos. Is that what Enuff Z Nuff should be doing? Or if they were doing that with you, instead of playing to 50 people in Poughkeepsie, would it be better to hold out and do M3 and do whatever whacking in Germany and get five figures to actually just do?
Yeah, as opposed to oversaturating certain areas, and you know, and keep coming back and back and back. And like you just said, you know, some places it's 50, 60 people. With me back singing for shows, you know, there's a lot of attraction and interest where, you know, people might be burnt on what he's doing now, or, and plus, you know, people were getting burnt on it when I was still in it and it was dwindling, you know what I mean? So you need to take some breaks, but it is what you present it as it is, you know what I mean? If you're gonna go play, fill in some dates that you need to fill in for financial reasons while you're out there for $1,000. That's what you're worth. And just for me alone, the one show that I've actually played in the last 5-6 years live was the place was jam packed, and people couldn't get in, you know. And so that's what I'm saying to him, is that, you know, it's possible, if you go about things right, to do bigger things that make sense, and then you present it as more and something that lives up to the records and the music and things like that. And people are going to come if there's, you know, if they can't, if they, you know, they could see you in Belfast, South Dakota, and they live near there or something, as opposed to, you know, a bigger place where you're the hub of a wheel. You know what I mean? That they can come in from other directions. They'll come, and for a band like Enuff Z Nuff with all those records and songs, and then with me back singing, and after everything with a new single and stuff like that, yeah, absolutely. You can make good money merchandising, and you know, and for, you know, go do England and Spain, Italy, you know, Europe, a few dates, go over to Japan, do a few more dates, and make, you know, the money that you would make in all of these, you know, little clubs and stuff like that. And, you know, you could play bigger clubs, you know, and do an arena show in a smaller place than a theater. Or, oh yeah, I thought you were freezing up. You sure can.
No, I'm not
sure
freezing
can
up.
sit still, you know.
I can sit still. Well, because my chair squeaks, so
Yeah.
I've learned to sit still. No, but I mean, you know, you should be sort of the fourth or fifth band on the stadium tour, and not be playing, you know, in Poughkeepsie or in Ottawa, and actually have some value, because you're right. You could probably do 50 of these dates in a year around Japan and make 6 figures easily, especially with the merch, rather than go play in Ottawa for $750. I don't know. It
Well,
doesn't seem to
see,
be smart business.
he likes and prefers to be out there all of the time, but I don't think he realizes that that's not in his best interest. He just likes to, his views on things are different than mine. He's you know, he's more interested in being busy and possibly confuse motion with progress, you know, which is fine. Is if he and I work out an agreement where both of us are happy and I feel okay about things, I would be fully supportive in him doing that. And then I'll do, you know, because he's still got great songs to play. He's still got all the songs that I wrote and that we wrote together to perform. And so on some of those, you know, for lack of a better word, little cock rock shows and stuff like that, theater cock rock shows, you know, where there's 3-4 bands, that's, you know, not necessarily also something that I might want to play, but like you said, M3, download, different things like that, you know, I would be interested in. He can, if he wants to go out and do, you know, 200 more dates a year for little money or something like that, you know, things have to be worked out, but he would have to understand that that is devaluing. Why would you necessarily, you know, there's a lot of promoters and clubs, they don't know the difference between him singing or me singing until the show is there, you know, and from a fan's point of view, I can't see anybody being as happy with that show, because it's just the bass player singing lead vocals now as opposed to the guy, you know what I mean, who's there. And yeah, it just makes more sense. But like I said, you know, you can have both if you know, because I'm going to go do my own thing and do my own shows where I'll be playing, you know, a 3-hour night because I got 30 years of records and songs that I've written, and I'll be doing all that plus what I've got current. And then I put the piano and stuff out on a riser out in the middle of the place and go there and sing for a few songs, you know, by myself, and, you know, kind of an arena show in a big club. But yeah, what you said is hitting the nail on the head. But unfortunately, it won't be Canada because I'm no longer ever allowed in Canada again.
Yeah, given the COVID thing, none of us are allowed to. And full disclosure, by the way, I'm friends with Chip. We text each other and stuff. And I saw Enuff Z Nuff with Chip at M3, and I thought the show was great. I mean, I thought it was very, it was pleasant, it was competent, it was, you know, I can't complain.
They're a great band, you know.
They're a great
musicians,
band.
Good songs, you know.
But we're having a business discussion talking about branding, and I do think that you devalue the brand. You know, you look at Honeymoon Suite in 2020, they shouldn't be getting 20, 25, 30,000 a show. They should probably be in a bar, but they branded it properly. They said, yeah, we're not going to go do that, which is smart.
Well, you know, I had part of a food service company many years ago, and there was a couple of different Chinese restaurants that we delivered produce to, and one place was super expensive and you know, and very elegant, and the other place was like a Panda Express where, you know, you order, you know, orange chicken or something, you get this giant thing for $9.99. And I was asking the guy at the fancy place, I said, what's the secret? What's the difference in your food? Why is you so much, you know, you're using the same products, why are you so much more expensive? And he said to me,
oh no, we froze up at the punchline.
And
hold on.
And
what did he say to you? We froze up at the punchline. Yeah, we froze up at the punchline. And what did he say to you?
He says, I give you less food, so you're still hungry. I charge you more, so you think it's worth more. And you go down there and you get that for $6.99 for a huge thing of orange chicken that's in your refrigerator. You take home, you're so sick of it. And it's like, you can go there anytime. There's nothing special about it. You go to his place, you feel like you're going to doing something. You're going out to dinner, you know what I mean? And something like that. So I learned a little from that, just that ideology, you know, it is what you present it as. You know?
It absolutely is. It's all about giving value to what you do. So let me ask you this, because
I think Enuff Z Nuff is worth more than that, than you know, those little shitty shows and stuff. I think the Enuff Z Nuff is worth more than that, and it should have more integrity than that.
I do, but okay. But let me ask you this, and this might be the tough question, but over the years, you know, Howard Stern has always talked about the band. Critics have always been like, oh my God, Beatles, this, a great, great band. Where did it sort of go wrong? Why aren't you at that Poison level or at that Def Leppard level? Where did these great songs, great singing, great performances by you, by Chip, where did it not get us to that next level?
The main reason is timing. Just the timing with everything, just the wrong place, the wrong time. Our first records came out, very lack of preparation on my point. I didn't have any experience. I was a kid, you know, and it all came together so quickly. The combination of the players involved, a lot of that didn't make a lot of sense, you know, for longevity. Um, we were in, you know, heavy lawsuits and stuff from the very beginning with our first manager. The labels were changing, you know, things like that were happening, and so then you know, social media started, and the internet started, and records and labels were conglomerating and doing different things, and we we're kind of in the middle of that. We got pulled off of a tour with, you know, with like Fly Michelle already doing number one, and then ready to put out another video and single, and then we brought home and said, it's over, the record's over. We're like, what are you talking about? It's just looking at a billboard, it's got a bullet, it's going up, you know. Said, no, the label is, they're changing the label, and now this label here is having a different format, so we're stuck on so it's time to go back in. We do Strength, which is a, you know, really brilliant record. People still talk about that and everything, and after that, you know, that the same thing, we're getting the same response. So we're sitting on a shelf. So we got to file a bankruptcy, which is heavy in the business, and find a new label, a new home. And for various reasons, instead of doing smart things like go with Klogner, who had given us an offer, and which didn't sound as appealing as far as, you guys, your song, these demos aren't ready to go. You're not ready to make a record. We need to rebuild the whole band, which is smart. But Arista Records, Clive Davis, who's Clive Davis, you know, he's like, this is brilliant, you know, but all he cared about was like Innocence and Right by Your Side. And so in fact, he let us produce the rest of the record except those. And so he had no rock market or rock department or any rapport with these rock stations and things. So we didn't kind of play into his vision. I didn't leave the band and go be a solo artist and make more power ballads and things like that, like he probably, his vision he had. And then, you know, plus just the alcohol and the drugs and everything like that contributed to not, you know, me not being heavily involved in a lot of the business decisions, you know what I mean, with baggage and inexperienced and things like that. And after you got two major label failures where it's considered in the business, that, you know, perception wise, they don't know all these things, they don't know all these reasons, they know that two failures on two major labels, you know what I mean, and then the stories and rumors and things that go along with it that are blown out of proportion. And then, you know, and then with the indie labels and all this and that, you know what I mean, it's everything just downward spiraled. And even, you know, Howard Stern, that when we were doing stuff like that, I mean, everything was a good publicist, the major juice behind you and stuff. It was, you know, it was going, and had it been a little bit of timing difference, you know, either before or after, and a little more preparation and making a little more sense, not switching managers in between everything, and nothing stayed consistent and nobody was on the same page. And that's just what happens like that. You know what I mean? That's just what happens.
Let me ask you this. How much do you think image played into that? Because you were very much a rock band, very much sort of Beatlesque, and yet you're all fluorescent and you're super green, and what did you somehow maybe give the wrong image?
That's another thing another point that I've just forgot to mention. Yeah, that played a big part in that. That was also, I don't consider that necessarily our fault, because it's kind of what your label and your A&R department and your promotional department kind of stylists and help you, guide you through that stuff. And at the time when we came out, with the players we had, Derek and Vic and stuff like that, it was, they saw that that's what was happening with Poison and all those, every cock rock band in the world was getting major deals and doing that stuff. And so we, without knowing any better, you know, it's, you know, had we come out dressed in our regular, what we considered street clothes, jeans and leather jackets and stuff like that, we would have carved a niche for ourselves like Tom Petty or somebody else did, and where it was just the music was the focus, and the songs were the focus of my vocals, everything. And instead, the perception, the wrong place at the wrong time, and what was happening, and then was when it was in with the new and out with the old, that we ended up on that cart going out with the old, because we jumped on the train, the last seats on the last train instead of the first seats on the next train. But we gave up, we got rid of the glam clothes and stuff like right away as soon as we seen
I know.
it. When we went to Strength, it wasn't, we were just dressed classy, or we were rock stars. But I got rid of those spandex pants and stuff like immediately.
But you're right. I mean, the first album comes out in '89, and we already started sensing a change, and you got stuck at the back of the train going over the cliff rather than the one leaving the station. And had they the A&R guys or whatever just said, hey, let's put him at the front of the new train, it might have been a whole different story. Quickly, Beautiful Things, of course, the album that came out last year, and re-released earlier this year, I believe, too, right? It had double release. Anyway.
Yeah, but we're getting ready to go support that record and give it its full run. But then the pandemic hit, and now what I'm doing, instead of a whole new record and giving up on that, I'm releasing new singles to help support that record, and wait till I'll do some on-stream live performances and things, and wait till this thing kind of settles down and blows over. And I have another single coming out next month. It's called Party Time, which is like a song that I've been trying to write my whole career. It's our rock and roll all night, party every day, ain't nothing but a good time. That kind of thing, but only still has to be in my style and still fit the my integrity of writing and stuff like that. And I finally came across one, stumbled onto it. And so that was going to be released first, but it's going to be a 45 actual vinyl record. And then the pandemic hit, of course. And the other song I had was All My Favorite Things, which actually kind of fit the time there. So,
and by the way, I'm glad you said Rock and Roll All Night and not Party All the Time by Eddie Murphy, because that would have been bad. Very, very bad. Should we get to a song? And of course, so it'll be on YouTube, so I'm assuming we have permission to air it.
If you'd like me to play one, I could try. I haven't played and sang in quite a while, but I can give it a shot. And yes, I give full permission for the YouTube thing. And if there's an issue, I will sign something, because I sign anything anyway. It's my policy. I'll give it a shot.
Which one? Do you want to do the upcoming single that you just mentioned, or should we do something? What do we got? Fly, Tender Lights, I'll Surrender, whatever.
About we're done. Did it freeze up?
It froze for a second, but that's okay. By the way, just as I'm watching you perform, I get a sense of the Black Crowes in there. And of course, they started about the same time as you, but they were put at the front of the bus, Yeah,
it was a whole different thing, the way they looked and everything. That's really terrible, and that stinks right now that it get cut that off on didn't even get through the chorus, You might want to cut the whole performance then, or unless I go for it again.
Go for it again. And you know what? I might just leave it as is. Fans are used to the sort of the streaming thing. It happens.
Okay, well, if that's what you want to do, or I could try it again. It's up.
Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Right. Let's see what we can do.
Maybe not that song now. Maybe I'm burnt on that one.
Yeah. Should we do Instant Karma? Oh wait.
That's kind of difficult. All
right.
And plus, we won't get it. We won't get the rights
for
that one.
Well, how about the new one with Chip, the Strangers?
You can't do that one this way. It's a heavy song,
All right.
I'm trying to think what I could do.
There you go. There you go.
You can edit the first one out, right? You can edit the first one out and go right to this one.
I could, yeah, of course.
I fucked up the very first melody to the very first verses, but I don't care. That's okay. I can't pull it off.
Nah, that's what rock and roll is. And as my co-host sometimes say, Alan Niven, he says, you have to learn how to keep the good imperfections,
Perfect in your imperfection, right?
You're perfect in your imperfections. He says that all the time. Just real quick, before we wrap up, where do we go from here? I mean, obviously COVID has sidelined us or sidelined you. Uh, is the goal to try to get Chip to understand about doing bigger shows, or do you go out and just do solo Donnie shows and say, all right, whatever, or a bit
Well,
of both?
that's my focus is on what I'm doing now. I feel that I'm more comfortable and I have more freedom creatively to keep evolving and to keep, Beautiful Things is the best thing I've ever done so far, and that was the first record I was able to actually have full control over musically and creatively, and it was done very well. And I kind of picked the side of the fence instead of, we're cut in the middle heavy and pop, which doesn't really fit a genre. I went over and let the songs tell me what they want to be, as opposed to stick a heavy guitar on something. And I'm hopeful, and I would be interested in doing, I'll every now and then get back together with him and release a single or two, and do some bigger shows for the fans. I'd like to personally, I'd love to do both if it was in a perfect world, but that's all contingent upon, business and how he that's all riding on him of what he does with this.
I'm assuming it must be naming rights and all kinds of other things, but yeah, I hope
Yeah, I'm
if
not
you
entitled to anything right now, and that's how can that be? It's my voice and my songs are what is the only reason that there is anything to talk about, And though he's put in, I'll never take away from the amount of work and his contribution and what he's put into it too, I mean, but why will you get everything and I don't get anything is where my problem is. But like I said, he just called right before this interview, and so I'm going to call him back. And if we would have this interview in a little while, I'd probably have a better answer for you.
right. And listen, I actually like the branding of the real Enuff Z Nuff. I think that's brilliant. So, hey, who knows? Maybe we can move forward with that name. I
Well,
don't.
he didn't push it. He didn't put there was a song now on the record that's what people love and know. It's with me singing this and that, wasn't, didn't push that or anything. He just, it kind of got buried in the thing and quick in mentioning. I'm sure in his interviews he's getting asked about the same thing, you know what I mean? And his answer was that I just don't want to tour. And that's absolutely, not the right answer for that. But
No, the right answer is you want to tour, but under proper circumstances.
I want to do it right for one time.
Yes.
I'm finally in a place in my head, health wise and emotionally and mentally, in a place where I could at least give it a fair shot, where I don't have to have the regrets of and live with all the rumors and all this, and I own up to that. I was completely fucked up, but not so fucked up that I didn't deliver. You know what I mean? Just I wasn't in a good state of mind consistently enough to stand up for what I believed was intelligent and take control of the moves and take control of different things. I allowed a lot to happen that I even felt at the time was I shouldn't be allowing this to happen. But you come in later and people are just like, well, what the fuck, we're doing this and that, and that's another reason that contributed to my medicating and stuff. Is it's sometimes it was that or kill myself. I was that frustrated and depressed, So yeah,
Let me ask you quickly about that, because being in the music business is not exactly the easiest thing on the brain, because you get fucked by everybody all the time.
I don't recommend it.
I know. So did you go into the music business with some of these feelings and they got exacerbated, or did you get to the music business and just couldn't handle because it's a business that eats its young, quite frankly.
My original intent and my motivation and inspiration for the whole thing was not being a famous rich rock star. It was the music really got me through my early age, and it struck me very young. And my goal was to be able to create something that could be in the same breath as these guys that were my heroes and the things I was listening to, is to be the next generation maybe of this kind of music and evolve. And that's what I believe I did that. But, you know, like I said, this is the first time I've ever got a chance to create something that I felt made perfect sense. That was the best I could do. Without excuses, without reasons why this didn't do that or why it didn't sound like this and that. And, you know, that's my inspiration, my mode. But then when you're 18 and you have no fucking clue of anything, you know, and all of a sudden this comes along and takes you from this dark, lonely childhood and adolescence of just cutting school and smoking and drinking and stuff into the, you know, the magnitude of the music business with the major labels and shit, and then #1 on MTV, back-to-back videos and songs. Who steps away from that for on principle at that age, and that, you know, for what was at stake at that point? And still, as time went on, it's still out of necessity and need. I wasn't able to do that, and made a couple attempts, like with Chip and Donnie. That was an attempt I made to I want to get out of this. And, you know, I went in and started recording the 7 or the Chip and Donnie turned into be 7. And a lot of those songs just with Ricky. And I was, you know, that was my first, you there?
I'm here. I'm here and I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Yeah,
by the way, great Disney movie.
What's that? Frozen?
Frozen.
Did you ever see the other one, the Frozen, where they get stuck in a ski lift?
No,
That's another one. It's they're stuck in a ski lift. Somehow it shuts down and it ain't going to turn on until next winter. And then they're stuck up there, and the guy has to jump out of the thing and break his legs, and then the wolves ate him. It was just a horrid movie. I saw that and Centipede in the same showing. But
Centipede, that is some nasty film.
Careful, kids, if you go to get Frozen. Careful not to get that one. Be quite traumatic. Yeah,
I can imagine. Listen, why don't we just call it a day on that? Always a pleasure. We've done a bunch of these, especially for Beautiful Things. Great album. It really does sound like you were in the right place when you made it, you know, and folks, go buy it if you already haven't.
Took a rest, got my health and my issues and therapy and all these things, and got really where I needed to get so much earlier, because but you know, opportunities didn't you know, lend themselves to me just taking time. You know, I tried to. That's the first time I was out of the band. I needed to. I was strung out on everything. We were on like this big state arena tour with Poison and all this and that. And after that finished, I said, you know, I'm a mess, man. I'm having, you know, the whole convoy of buses are stopping at methadone clinics and stuff like that, you know. And I said, I can't go on like this. I'm going to die, you know. And so it's time to take a rest, and also let the juice and everything add up again and come back, you know, with a reason to come back and make it something. And then, you know, the same thing happened this time. And, you know, and issues never got really resolved. They just kept compiling and snowballing. And it just got too much for him to work with me, for me to work with him. And so I took that time. And then when I was done with that and I was ready to go again, the songs just came back to me you know, because nothing during that time, nothing came to me, you know. But I believe all this stuff comes from another place. I'm just an antenna, and that said, no, you're not ready for these right now. We're not going to waste them, you know what I mean? And so I needed to do that. And then when I came, you know, the songs told me what they wanted to be. I was in a good state of mind. I was hopeful again, and you know, I went in and made that record.
Yeah, and it came out great. And I will say this for the record as well. Love Chip. Chip's a great guy. He's always been exceptionally nice to me. And Donnie, you've always been exceptionally nice to me on these interviews. So merci, as we say in Montreal. Thank you so much.
Wished I could come back there one day, but I'm not walking through a cornfield. And, you know,
you might have to.
I was a bad boy.
Well, there's ways to get that figured out. I managed to get Jack Russell back into Canada. So if Jack can get in.
I wrecked a couple of sniffer dogs. I completely destroyed their careers for the rest of their lives, and I got billed for every piece of food and everything they ate for their whole lives, and I didn't even get to keep the dogs. And then on the way out of Canada, I had like 20 cases of those codeine pills and stuff like that under the bus, and they looked at me and says, "You will never come into Canada again." And so,
wow.
You know. We didn't have a lot of career over there anyway, though.
I'll come and see you down in wherever, M3 or whatever. Great festival, by the way. Eric Baker does a great job. But there you go. Merci, monsieur. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mitch. I appreciate it. Thanks for thinking of me.
Absolutely. Cheers.
All right, you too.
All right, there you go.
Perfect. Are we done here?
Yeah, let me hit.
Donnie Vie here. I just finished a video interview, so with all the shit still set up, I figured I would take this opportunity to say hello. And I have a new single coming out next month. It's called Party Time. And I have a current single that I'd written last year when I got out of the hospital. I almost died. And the doctors and everybody told me, well, all the things you like to do, you're done doing. It's time to just, eat broccoli and blueberries and lay around. And that's no life. I said, fuck that. And then when the pandemic hit, we were all in the same situation. Do we live in the fear and just continue living our lives and doing the things that we like to do, socializing, going out, seeing bands, things like that, or do we be mindful, cautious, sensible, careful, and continue living our lives, the fun and the zest and the good things in life that, when it's your time, it's your time, but the song's called All My Favorite Things, and I think I'd like to play it for you right now. Well, I just found out, and I still don't know. It's all the fuss about if the flowers grow. Well, I feel alright, but I'm not okay. Why would I choose to fight? The same thing happens anyway. I love to stay up all night long, singing songs and drinking with my friends. Fast girls, fast food, and smoking cigarettes. If this is how it has to end, I guess that's just the way it goes. I won't let nothing clip my wings. I'd rather take my chances in the dark than lose all my favorite things. Well, I'm a Chi-Town boy, but I love LA. And when I lose my joy, all I do is run away. I love to stay up all night long, singing songs and drinking with my friends. Fast girls, fast food, and smoking cigarettes. If this is how it has to end, I guess that's just the way it goes. I won't let nothing clip my wings. I'd rather take my chances in the dark. And I don't know what the darkness brings. I'd rather go down swinging in the dark than lose all my favorite things. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I'll see you soon.
Rock Talk with Mitch Lafon.